So, you're a pharmacist and you've got that dream of practicing abroad, right? Then you definitely know the feeling. It can feel like you're staring at this daunting maze of foreign licensure exams. It's a huge challenge for sure, but what if I told you there's a global roadmap to success? Well, in this explainer, we're going to demystify the whole thing. We're going to navigate that maze together step by step. Let's get started.
And I just love this quote because it frames it so perfectly. Success isn't about some frantic last-minute cram session. It's a journey, one that requires real focus and endurance. So think of this explainer as your personal travel guide, here to help you move from preparation to peak performance. So what does this whole journey actually look like? Well, we've broken it down into 4 key stages. First up, we're going to talk about the winning foundation, the universal tools every single pharmacist needs. Then we'll look at the global roadmap, checking out the different exam routes around the world. From there, we'll dive into a detailed 12-week countdown to exam day. And to wrap it all up, we'll get into mastering your mindset, which is so important to crossing that finish line. Okay, so before we even think about pulling out a map, we've got to pack our bags, right? This first part is all about building that winning foundation. We're talking about the 5 universal pillars of success, the absolute non-negotiables that you need no matter where in the world you're headed. This is the gear that's going to see you through the entire journey. And these 5 pillars, they are absolutely crucial. I'm talking non-negotiable for every single pathway. A 6 to 12-month roadmap, that isn't just a suggestion, it's your lifeline. And when it comes to what you study, you've got to stick to official materials. Think of it like using the official map instead of some random directions you found online. And practice, we're talking timed, simulated exams. You have to get a feel for the real thing. Clinical thinking means you're not just a robot memorizing facts, you're solving actual patient cases. And finally, resilience. Building that focus and actually reviewing your progress, that's what's going to keep you going when the going gets tough. All right, so our bags are packed with those 5 pillars. Now, it's time to pull out the map. There are a bunch of different paths you can take for licensure, and each one has its own unique challenges, its own terrain. So let's break down the 5 key international pathways so you can figure out which one is the right fit for you. Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. Just look at this table. You can see right away how different these journeys are. The Gulf region is like a sprint, only 3 to 6 months, while the UK is a total marathon, taking up to 15 months. And the focus? It shifts dramatically. The US is super heavy on pharmacology, but hop over to Canada? It's a whole different story. They're big on soft skills in their practical OSCE exam. And Australia zooms in on local guidelines and drug calculations. This is exactly why a one-size-fits-all study plan just doesn't work. You absolutely have to tailor your prep. So let's dig a little deeper, using the US as our example. Okay, look at this breakdown for the FPGEE. A whopping 35% is clinical sciences. Another 33% is pharmaceutical sciences. You add that up, that is nearly 70% of the entire exam. That's huge. This isn't just a statistic, it's a massive clue. It tells you exactly where to pour your energy. You can't just study everything equally. You've got to study smart. All right, let's talk about the investment, because this journey isn't just about time, it's about money too. Check this out. For the UK pathway, the OSPAP academic program can set you back over £17,000. That is a serious financial commitment, which makes all this strategic planning I'm talking about, well, it makes it even more critical. And hey, it's a similar story over in Canada. Just their practical skills exam, the OSCE, is over 2,000 Canadian dollars. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. So yeah, the financial stakes are really high, which again is why it's so important to use mock exams and really practice so you can nail it on the first try. Okay, so you've built your foundation, you've picked your path on the map. Now what? Now we zoom in on the final 3 months. And listen, this is not about last-minute cramming. This is a structured but flexible sprint that's designed to get you to that finish line performing at your absolute best. So this 12-week plan is all about smart pacing. You kick things off with a diagnostic test to figure out where you stand. Then you've got a solid month, weeks 3 to 6, to really hammer down those core subjects and take practice tests. Weeks 7 and 8, that's when you laser focus on your weak areas with mock case drills. And then look at how it capers off. Weeks 9 and 10 are for speed and regulations. Week 11 is a final review, but week 12, it's all about light revision, rest, and just planning logistics. You wouldn't run a marathon the day before the actual race, right? Same logic applies here. You gotta be fresh. Okay, so we've covered the what to study and the when to study it, but we're missing a huge piece, the how. This last section is all about mastering your mindset. Because let's be real, having all the knowledge in your head is one thing, but being able to actually access it calmly when you're under pressure, that is a whole different ballgame. These are the tools that'll make sure you finish strong. Now, some of these tools might sound simple, but trust me, they are incredibly powerful. The Pomodoro technique, it's a game changer for staying focused in those short bursts. And practicing visualization, actually picturing yourself succeeding, it sounds a bit cheesy, but it genuinely builds confidence. How about a study contract with a peer? That's your secret weapon to keep each other accountable. And stuff like journaling and, actually getting enough sleep, those are not luxuries. They're essential for locking in what you've learned and avoiding burnout. You can't underestimate the power of a resilient mind. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, you start to realize something really important. These exams, they're not designed to trick you. They're designed to be passed. Success here isn't about being some kind of genius. It's about being focused, having a structure, and being resilient. It's about having a plan, using the right resources, practicing for the real thing, and honestly, just taking care of yourself along the way. Okay, you now have the map. You have the tools. You have the mindset. The whole journey is laid out right in front of you. The only thing left is for you to take that very first step. So think about it. Looking back at everything we just covered, from those 5 foundational pillars to the 12-week sprint, what's your first move going to be?